In this video, I'm going to cover process costing using weighted average, and I'm going to use it to demonstrate exercise 837 and 838. And I'm going to do this in Excel spreadsheet. Hopefully it makes it a little bit easier to follow along as I do these calculations. The setup of the problem gives us the beginning inventory in terms of units, 48,000. They're 30% complete with regard to material and conversion. They also give us the dollar amount of materials related to the beginning inventory, 304,920, and the dollar amount of conversion related to that beginning inventory of $440,040. They tell us that we're going to add in direct material cost of $2,343,600 and add in conversion cost of $3,027,840. And recall, conversion is labor and overhead added together. We have 102,000 units transferred out and ending inventory of 30,000 units, and they are 80% complete with regards to material and 40% complete with regards to conversion. There is a piece of missing information. They didn't tell us how many units are started, but we can back into this. If we think about this, the number of units between beginning inventory and started have to balance out to what we transferred out and what we have in ending work in process inventory. So if I simply take my 102,000 units that I transferred out plus my 30,000 units that are in ending inventory, I have 132,000 units that I did something with, that I either finished or incomplete. If I subtract from that, I know you can't see it, let me go ahead and accept this. If I subtract from that my beginning inventory of 48,000 units, I back into the fact that I must have started 84,000 units. So that's one piece of information to solve for. Now in step one, I'm simply just listing units. I'm not getting into cost, and I'm just looking at the number of units that I need to account for versus accounting for those units as either being transferred out or in ending inventory. I also need to convert those accounted for units into equivalent units. The first part of this, I'm just pulling information from the top. How many units were in beginning inventory? 48,000 units. How many units were started? We already calculated that and backed into it, 84,000. So I have a total of 132,000 units that I need to account for. How am I going to account for those? Well, 102,000 units are transferred out to another department, and 30,000 physical units are in ending inventory, and this does add up to account for those 132,000 units. But I need to look to my right here and say, I need to transform these into equivalent units because I have some that are incomplete. My units transferred out are already 100% complete. There's no conversion I need to do with that. So for materials, I'm also going to list for my number of units, 102,000 units under material were completed and transferred out. I'm only going to cover the materials in this video just to keep it as short as possible, but a similar process would be done for conversion. Units and ending work in process inventory. It's not as easy as just sliding over the 30,000 physical units because keep in mind these units didn't get complete. We need to convert them. If we take the time and energy it took to make 30,000 units, 80% complete with regards to material, how many could we have actually finished? To do that, I simply take my 30,000 physical units times my 80%, that's my percentage of completion that they give me, and so that transforms it into 24,000 equivalent material units in ending work in process inventory. Add that to my 102,000 units completed and transferred out, and I get total equivalent units for direct materials of 126,000. Again, the process would be similar for conversion, but obviously the ending work in process inventory is a different percentage. It's 40%. That's why we have separate columns here. So instead of multiplying the 30,000 times 80% like we did for material, we'd multiply it times 40%, and we have a different equivalent unit for conversion because of those different percentages of completion. Going down to step two is pretty easy also, is I'm just listing the cost from above. What cost do I need to account from? I'm saying for materials, the cost in beginning inventory, if I go back up here, was just $304,920. The costs that I incurred or added in for direct materials during the period, if I go back up here, is the current cost for material, and that was $2,343,600. So the total cost that I need to account for is $2,648,520. That's going to go to some combination of units either transferred out or units in ending inventory to balance it out. The first thing I need to do is get my average cost or cost per equivalent unit to be able to apply that to units transferred out and units in any inventory to apply that cost that I need to account for. Weighted average is pretty easy. We don't make any distinction like our units. We don't make a distinction between those added in and those in the beginning inventory. We do the same with costs. We just throw it in together and we average it all out. So the total cost that I'm going to use is my cost to account for, which includes cost in beginning inventory and costs incurred during the period of $2,648,520. Then I'm going to pull down my equivalent, my total equivalent units, and that's going to be the combination of the equivalent units completed and transferred out and equivalent units in ending work in process inventory, which for materials is $126,000. Divide that $2,648,520 by the equivalent units for material of 126,000, and I get that average cost per equivalent unit of $21.02 for direct materials. So I'm going to use that cost to apply it to the units. For example, for my cost assigned to units transferred out, again, the $21.02 times the number of units that were completed and transferred out under materials, which is 102,000, gives me direct material costs assigned to units transferred out of $2,144,040. For ending inventory, it's a little different. I'm still going to use the cost per equivalent unit of $21.02, but keep in mind, I'm not going to multiply it times physical ending work in process inventory units of 30,000 because the cost is cost per equivalent units. I need apples to apples, not apples to oranges. So I need to multiply it times the equivalent units in ending work in process inventory, which is different than the physical units, or multiply it times my 24,000. I get cost assigned for direct materials to ending work in process inventory of $504,480. When I add that to the cost for direct materials that I transfer out of $2,144,040, I come up to the cost that I needed to account for. That's not just luck. That's the way it should be if I did this correctly, of $2,648,520. I'll have a separate video to cover the FIFO method.